Good evening, I'm Esteban Quintero, and our sports sticker is brought to you by the experienced advisors at Stonebridge Wealth Systems. 3 Nebraska softball players earned Softball America midseason position rankings. Jordy Fromm was named the #1 two-way player, while Alexis Jensen was the #3 two-way player, and Hannah Kamenzen was the #29 outfielder. The 8th-ranked Nebraska softball team will host the Rutgers Scarlet Knights for a 3-game Big Ten series this weekend. First pitch is set for tomorrow at 5 p.m. The Huskers will showcase their newly renovated outdoor track facilities tomorrow as they host the Husker Spring Kickoff. Due to the weather, the meet has been combined into one day of competition, opening with field events at noon and running events to begin at 12:30. Our sports sticker is brought to you by Stonebridge Wealth Systems, navigating you to and through the retirement of your dreams. Local advisors, a disciplined process, and the retirement compass. Visit stonebridgeiwm.com. Hour 1 of Sports Nightly is up next, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
From the 8-yard line, snap to Calandria, play fake, lobs one back shoulder left. Oh, is that caught? It was Quinn Clark, one-handed back shoulder catch for a touchdown. Highlight reel grab here in spring. Plus 32, 2nd and 10. 13 seconds. Kalen takes the snap, hands it off to Booth. Angles left. There he goes. Booth to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Connor Booth with a spring game dagger.
2-2 coming. This one is hit into left center field. Going back towards the wall, off the base of the wall. Dylan Carey will round in the second. And, folks, there it is. The all-time doubles record. Number 57, Dylan Carey stands alone in the record books. Take a bow, number 15.
Runner at first, 2 outs, 1 and 2 to Alejandre. From deals. Alejandre swings and misses. She's got on strikes. And the 9th-ranked Cornhuskers down 7th-ranked UCLA, beating the Bruins 2-1 in the series.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Kyle Crooks on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome in, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. It is our final show of the week because we will have Husker baseball on the air coming up tomorrow night, and you're back on the call tomorrow.
Yeah. So if you're a fan that doesn't want to hear my voice, I'm sorry.
Too bad.
Over the next 3 days, myself, Nick Hanley. So Ben's going to have a weekend off, but those guys will get back together for the midweek in Kansas, and then they'll be out west together for the Oregon series, which is a massive one. But it all starts this weekend because Penn State is a team that comes in struggling in Big Ten play, just struggling overall. Now, these two teams have met the last 2 years, Jess, in the run in the Big Ten tournament for Nebraska. They met in the champ game in 2024, and then they met in the semis last year. So it's been Nebraska that's knocked out Penn State the last couple of years out of the Big Ten tournament.
Well, we'll see how long Josh keeps your football spring game calls.
Yeah, I say we keep it there until September.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if he'll keep you in
don't
there
think so?
very long. So
You don't think
can you make some good calls this weekend? Maybe he'll put your baseball calls in the montage.
You don't think a super regional clinching out of Nate Rohr to the World Series, I don't think that makes it in over the spring game highlights. I'm sorry. I may be biased, but
yeah, maybe just have a good baseball call and you can make it in there as a
I'll try.
baseball highlight.
I'll try. Hopefully we get a couple of home runs. The way things are going for baseball this year offensively, there should be a lot of good things in there. I'm excited to get back with the team, and obviously I watch every game and listen to the guys every single night that I'm not doing games. So it's been a really fun year to be around them. I don't think I have anything to do with them having such a great year, or as much as I like to joke about it.
All the success the other day in a meeting, by the way.
But top 20 ranking, I think what's really cool is you're going to have both teams at home this weekend. We have I'm blanking on the event we have going on outside Bark at the Park.
Ballpark Bash.
Ballpark Bash, where you have a lot of fun things that are going to go on previous to both games starting. So it's going to be a fun part of Lincoln. You're going to have Rutgers in town against Nebraska for the first of 3 in softball, and then Penn State. You can sort of maneuver back and forth if you have tickets for both and watch both teams this weekend.
What, I guess, has been the most impressive to you with this baseball team with what they've done to be able to get to where they are right now?
I think the consistency in some of the guys in the lineup. Nobody saw Mac Moyer, his story coming. Maybe they did. I don't think in our conversations with them that Mac was the first guy that stood out. He was not their starting opening day center fielder. I've said this a bunch. And he had to, when he got that start against Stanford, he's just simply not looked back. And in a sport that breeds so much failure, and if you're successful 3 out of 10 times, you're essentially a Hall of Famer. He's just been so incredibly consistent. Mac Moyer's reached in 28 straight games, has become the consistent leadoff guy. And then Dylan's played with a little bit of edge this year. Dylan Carey, shortstop, he was pretty PO'd not being drafted last year. That's the reality. He thought he should be playing professional. That's the reason they brought in Jet Buck, was to play shortstop, because they didn't think they'd have Dylan Carey this year. And then Jeter Worthley, a lot of what we talked about in the offseason was, it's a local kid, his brother's on the team. He had such an incredible fall. The weeks leading up, he's got all the tools that you would want in a really good baseball player. And, so the numbers that were, I have the numbers in front of me. Jeter got off to a slow start. First 12 games, it was a really slow burn for him. But that's the college game, getting sort of engrossed in the college game. And then the last 17 games, he's hitting nearly 400. Somebody like Drew Grigo, who's taken on that right field spot as a true freshman. Rhett Stokes, who's a veteran guy who has now had the opportunities to become a starter at different parts of the infield. And just different guys who, when they've gotten their opportunities, they've stepped up in a big way. And then Ben has said it a million times, for this team to be successful, you need your stars to be successful. And for the most part, they've had Dylan, they've had Case Sanderson, they've had Jet Buck have some really good games. They've had a lot of, and hopefully they can get Overbeat going a little bit more offensively, but they've had their stars be stars along with their weekend starters.
So it was a really cool moment, too. I was in the booth, and they talked about this on the broadcast, Ben and Nick. So I had walked over from softball, and Will Jeske got a pinch hit opportunity, and I know he's had the nagging injury. And the way that Husker Nation understood what was going on, and he got a really nice ovation when he grabbed the bat and stood up there in the box. And so hopefully he's also getting back healthy, and that he can maybe be getting back to being a more consistent presence in the lineup too, because he was doing really well to start the season too.
Yeah, it's a really good point. When I don't say this lightly, he's one of the best athletes I've ever been around, just in terms of attitude, the way that he goes about. He's very bubbly, smiley. He's like the complete 180 of me on a consistent basis. He's just like 3 cups of coffee, even though I don't even know if he drinks caffeine or not, but it just looks like he's had 3 cups of coffee. He's always in the best mood. Met his parents on the way back from Arlington, Texas. You sort of see where he gets it from. This could be a frustrating year for Will, because he got off to that great start. One of the best moments of the year was that home run he hit to left field, and they needed every bit of it to win that game in 10 innings, and that is their most impressive win to date on their resume. But getting him back, and his first plate appearance, first at bat back from injury, it was a hamstring, and then he was dealing with the other leg because of overcompensation. So it's those lower half hamstring issues, they take forever to get back from. And for Will, he had, I think it was 110 miles an hour, line drive to third base off the bat, which in a lot of cases would have been an extra base hit down the line. So I've seen him in BP. He's been raring to go. It's just about getting him healthy and being able to play the outfield, or being able to have him run the bases. But Will Jeske, that's what makes it even more remarkable, Jess, is that's one of your best hitters that you have not had for a majority of the season because of a hamstring issue.
It's kind of like what we've been talking about with softball. Obviously, they had their big series last weekend with UCLA, and how important that series was for the Huskers, and potentially basically solidifying an argument to host not only regional but super regional. Husker baseball's got their 2 big series coming up here in the next couple of weeks. But at this point now, it's like take care of business, right? In the weekends around those.
Yeah, and especially this weekend for baseball. Before we went live, we talked about that. Rutgers is a program on the softball side that's struggling a bit. UCLA beat them up pretty good. So you would think if both series are played on paper, these are sweeps. I was looking at the RPI earlier today for Penn State specifically. They're at 231, right? So not good. Nebraska now is a 23. So they're in a really good spot RPI-wise, and that will go up if you can succeed and have good series against Oregon and USC, and then who knows what the Big Ten tournament brings and all those different things. Both teams, this is, if you want to put a headline or a phrase to it, it's take care of business. Yeah. This is a take care of business weekend for both teams. They are the overwhelming favorites on paper. For those that don't know a little bit about Penn State, they had their midweek rained out against UCF, who's a pretty good team. UCF actually went up there to play, but they never actually played their midweek game. They've lost all 3 of their Big Ten series. They have a couple guys who can mash, pretty decent elements of their lineup. They hit it. They can slug it a little bit. Pitching wise, they are 8+ ERA. They're a bloated ERA. They're last in the league in earned runs allowed. So this is a weekend where, on paper, Nebraska's offense should put up some crooked numbers, which they've done all year long, and they've been pretty consistent in that effect. So for both teams, you headline it the take care of business weekend.
Lots of things going on this weekend around both teams. As we talked about earlier, the Ballpark Bash, a lot of fun things with that. 11 to 2 on Saturday in between Haymarket Park and Bowlin Stadium. Lots of fun activities for the kids. And you do not need a ticket for either one. It's just a free event that you can come on out to the ballpark. So, and then Bark at the Park for both games on Saturday as well. So you can bring the pups out, bringing Sunny out, and it's T-minus an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes.
Not that you're counting or anything.
I'm counting down the minutes now at this point.
I said this is a special
till I get her
3-hour show. We're going to make Jess wait an extra
hour. Definitely not going to do that. But hey, okay, so being that you spent a lot of time with softball, I wanted to ask you about this. So again, with the softball rankings, there's 4 basically that people use, and 3 of them are pretty much kind of all around the same. So USA Softball, D1 Softball, Softball America all have the Huskers 4 and 5. And then the NFCA poll has the Huskers 8. And they've basically this whole season had Nebraska lower or higher, whichever, behind the other 3 basically all season. Why is that it's kind of spread out the way that it is?
It's a good question, because when I was calling games at my previous stop, it was always the flip side. Florida was always higher on NFCA than they were on ESPN and
that
Softball
SEC
America.
Bias.
So it was flipped, right? So there's certain polls. I don't know, like those that vote on the NFCA polls, if they watch as much Big Ten as some of the others. Like, I think they certainly got that bump because wasn't it after Clearwater, ESPN bumped them way up in their poll after they played those games on ESPN? I think
but they also beat 2 number 1 teams, though.
No, if you look at the resume, they are RPI-wise.
They're number 3 now as of after last weekend, which is crazy because they were number 2 last weekend, and they play a top 10 team and only lose and win the series, and then they fall back.
You look at the resume, right? So they're 3rd in RPI. They had the best non-conference strength of schedule in the country. They just beat UCLA 2 out of 3. Should have swept them. And there's no way on planet Earth that they're the 8th best team in the country. They're at lowest 5th, right? And I think the lowest spot you could put them is at 5th in the country. So to put them at 8th that screams to me those that are voting aren't watching all of the games or don't have all of the information necessary to make some of these decisions.
Like, to me, I think the Alabamas, the Oklahomas are probably getting some love because of what they've done in the past.
There's no reason to say that Nebraska is not better, if not equal footing as those teams.
Yeah.
Resume-wise.
I think so, too. And so it's just, to me, I think some of them are getting the jersey logo love on that, benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, and people, they look at the 6 losses, right, compared to but, Texas Tech. I think the only one that had a comparable non-conference was Tennessee.
Yeah, and they're right in front of.
They're 30 and 5.
I think they're 7.
They beat Nebraska, though, so at least you have the argument there. They beat them head-to-head. But a lot of these non-conference schedules from the SEC schools are just not comparable to what Nebraska did.
Here's the thing, though. Texas Tech didn't play anybody because there was some, goings around that they were tampering, and so I think there was a little bit of a boycott of playing Texas Tech. So I wonder what their strength of schedule is, because it can't be very high, and I think Nebraska was their best team that they played in the non-conference, and so they're getting, because of what they did last year, they're kind of getting the benefit of the doubt there. Because if you want to go head to head, then Nebraska has a head to head over Texas Tech.
And they're not getting a huge bump in the Big 12 either. Oklahoma State's a good team, but hey, Nebraska played Oklahoma State at their place.
Yeah.
When you think of some of the UCF's a pretty solid, like borderline top 25 team, but it doesn't scream to me murderer's row conference schedule for Texas Tech since Texas and Oklahoma left the league.
Yeah. No.
So strength, everything on Nebraska's resume. And here's what's funny.
It just worries me. Being number 8 is a little close to that line when you talk about being able to host a super regional.
I think the people that are on the committee actually watch the games.
Yeah.
I think you're not talking about top 20. Like, there's people that put in a lot of time and effort to make sure that they get this right. I just hope, because the rest of the schedule for Nebraska, that when the end of the season, we don't have a recency bias of who has Nebraska played, and then we forget about February, we forget about March, we forget about UCLA, and we just forget about everything that they did leading up, and we just talk about how they beat up on Rutgers and they beat up on Penn State. Who are these teams? Big Ten's not this. Well, let's not forget that the first half of the year still counts, everybody.
Yeah, to me, I just wish they were a little bit higher. If that's the poll that people are going to use, I just wish they were a little bit higher. And then I just think
RPI matters the most. They have metrics
that
they won't look at top 25. They'll look at all the metrics that are important, and Nebraska's right up there in all of them.
No. Yeah, and then you just, again, take care of business, as we've talked about, for the rest of the Big Ten. And you shouldn't move too far.
Don't be afraid to beat up teams. Like, don't feel mercy for teams. Like, that run differential matters.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, good stuff. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Coming up next, we're going to play you a portion of the Sideline Slice with the big dog, Jeremiah Sirles. Keep it here on Sports Nightly.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running, but it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with zero down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on F-150.
Get to Ford Truck Month.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraska Lottery.
Do you have a new lotto game called Nebraska Pick 4?
Yes, sir. It costs just $1 to play. There's a $6,000 top prize with drawings every day, and you can choose from 6 different bet types.
Kind of like Nebraska Pick 3 with a bigger jackpot and more bet options?
Yes, sir. Any other questions I can answer?
Yeah, I misplaced my phone. Do you know where it is?
You're using it.
So I am. You lottery people know everything.
Straight bet top prize odds 1 in 10,000.
From the chant of Husker Power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. With Allo plus DirecTV plus Allo Mobile, you get the ultimate teamwork. Internet you can count on, TV you can stream anytime, anywhere, and nationwide coverage you can depend on. Bench the other guys and team up with the official internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running. But it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with zero down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on F-150.
Get to Ford Truck Month.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back to Sports Nightly with Kyle Crooks. I'm Jessica Coody. So we brought on Jeremiah Sirles to be a part of the spring game broadcast, the offensive lineman, because we were hoping that I needed somebody to fill my role. But anyways, it was a cool perspective to have everybody involved because he is the offensive line expert, and so was able to kind of add that perspective. But because he was so up close and personal and really got a good perspective of what this team looked like in the spring game, had a chance to kind of dive into his perspective of that with a Sideline Slice episode. So wanted to play you a portion of that here tonight. Okay, so I guess let's start with the offensive line because that's what we do here. Because that's been a lot of the talk here this spring, just the size, the additions that they were able to bring in from the portal. Jeep Wade taking over, Lonnie Teasley. And again, I know that you're not going to see everything in the spring game, but what were your impressions of the offensive line and kind of what the potential could be for that group?
Yeah, obviously Elijah Pritchett looks like he's slimmed up a little bit and changed his body, and he looks like an NFL left tackle. And that's great to have. You want those guys on your team. Then you pair him next to Paul Mubenga, who looks like an NFL offensive guard. And you got Evans, who's going to play high level. Brendan Black, he's really big. And then you got Tree on the right tackle side. And we didn't even see Gunner. Gunner's a guy that's played a lot of football for this team that is coming off the knee injury. And so you haven't seen him. So I'm talking about feeling really good about 6 guys going into spring ball right now that all are going to be multiple time starters in big time football games. Now, as I've told you on the show multiple times, we need about 8 to 10 of those guys, but I think it's a good place to go. And just the sheer size of them is going to give Dana Holgorsen so many more options in the run game of, hey, do I want to run this split zone concept? Do I want to run this counter concept? How do I want to run these different types of NFL concepts in this offensive scheme? I'm excited for what Jeep Wade and this offensive line has built and where they're going to go. And the other piece, I was really impressed with the pass protection. Right? There wasn't any like, hey, tackle got beat around right away, sacks. And, people can say, well, why aren't Cam Lenhart and William Maneri getting there? Right. And that's a whole different conversation. But from an offensive line's point of view, the quarterback stayed very clean for pretty much the entirety of the day. So talking about generating push in the run game, had some explosive runs and a clean pocket. Overall, pretty damn good day for the offensive line.
Okay, so when you talk about an offensive line being more athletic, what are the benefits of that? What can an offense do with a more athletic offensive line?
Yeah, and I don't want it to feel like I'm pooping on guys from last year in any stretch of the imagination there, but we did go out and made an emphasis to get better athletes at the offensive line position. People don't think that we're very good athletes, right? They're like, oh, just the big uglies up front. Well, there are levels to that. And when I look at Elijah and I look at Paul and I look at Tree and I look at Justin and even Brendan Black, these are big guys that can run. And when you're large and you can run, you put a lot of stress on the defense going side to side, right? Because you're pushing and you're running and you're making gaps get extended and you're making linebackers move laterally instead of just flowing downhill. And that's where you can really get the working on this outside zone scheme. Also being said there, it allows you to be able to pull
and allows you to be able to do the GT counter stuff that you heard me and DB talking about, where you have the guard and the backside tackle pulling and kicking out frontside guys and wrapping for linebackers and creating creases. And so when you have big fellas that can run and move in space and aren't just, hey, we just got to run downhill behind these guys, and just they're more linear athletes than you are lateral athletes. These guys are just overall better athletes in space than Rocco and Henry were last year. And so with that comes the ability to expand the playbook.
Okay, and so then I definitely wanted to hit on the counter talk, because you and Damon talked a lot about that throughout, from the pregame and even into the game. Why does that excite you so much?
Yeah, so it's not getting too deep into the weeds here, but the counter game creates gaps in the defense. And especially when the counter game is the switch up. And again, it's the spring ball, take it with a grain of salt. But here's what I think our run identity is going to be with this Jeep Wade system. It's going to be a split inside zone, split outside zone type of base, which means 5 or 6 of the offensive linemen and the tight end are all going to be flowing zone-wise to one direction, right or left. And then you're going to have a tight end or a receiver or an H-back that's going to come back across the ball, right? So if all the offensive linemen are going right, you're going to have a tight end that's coming back left to kick out the backside defensive end, to cut the backside linebacker, and just give the ability to push front side, and then have the running back be able to push out the front side if the linebackers creep, or if the linebackers go over the top, then you can push it out the backside. That's going to be our bread and butter. And when that's your bread and butter, and then you throw in the counter system as the changeup, it puts so much stress on these linebackers, because the counter system a lot of times looks very similar to the zone stuff, because you have a guy coming backside, but this time it's a guard, and this time it's a tight end, or this time it's a guard and a tackle that are flowing backside. And so the linebackers have to make a decision. Do I flow over the top? Do I come back? How do I counteract this? And all it takes is that split second of a decision. All it takes is that linebacker to guess wrong. And that's where we're going to created spaces, created creases, and explosive runs. So with those two things being our base and our married defensive scheme to go, our married offensive scheme to go against the defense, from there's a bunch of different things you can put in. You can put in pin pull, you can put in trap, you can put in whams, you can put in boss on the front side. Like, there's so many more things you can expand off of these two things. I love that I saw that as kind of like, hey, this is the stuff we're going to run no matter what the defense, no matter what the scheme. This is going to be what we can just line up and go, stop it. And if that's where we can live at as an offensive line, I think we'll be in a pretty good spot heading into the fall.
So that counter kind of stuff works on any kind of defense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The best, because what happens is people try and blitz it off the backside. Like, that's a big way to stop the counter. But when you have a mobile quarterback, then you just go, okay, well, if they want to blitz off the backside, we'll just go counter read. Okay, we'll counter read. You slam down off the backside with that defensive end. Now, Calandria, Danny Kalen, TJ Lateef can just pull it and run around the outside because you blitzed, and so now you've given up your edge. So there's ways to counteract that. Or if you want to blitz it off the front side, cool, blitz off the front side. All it takes is one offensive lineman to feel that, throw the guy across their face, and a new gap is created. So it's really hard to stop the counter system. The biggest way to stop it is pressure through the middle. Right, you send a Mike through the A gap, or a nose guard loops across the center's face and gets kind of that pressure and penetration in the middle there to knock off the pullers. And that's where you go, okay, well, that's why we have Brendan Black, Paul Mubenga, and Justin Evans, very stout in the middle guys to really plug all that up, because that's the one way that you really stop counters, penetration through the A gaps.
Fascinating. All right, so let's move on. How about let's just go with the running backs, because you already mentioned him, Jamal Rule. He... Again, I said this on the broadcast, but it was kind of crazy. I was about to interview Andrew Marshall when Rule ripped off that long run, and they were kind of joking to a couple of the defensive guys. Every time he just finds a way to get it into the end zone. So it sounds like he's been doing that quite a bit throughout the spring, and this has been a guy that they've been very, very excited about. Was kind of under-recruited because he went to a small school until his senior year, and so Nebraska was one of the first on him, and then he stayed with Nebraska. E.J. Barthel did a great job recruiting him, and I think he's a freshman they're gonna have a hard time keeping off the field. What did you like about what you saw out of him and what he was able to do, I guess, here in the early goings as a freshman?
Yeah, well, the first thing is he looks the part.
Yeah.
Right. He's 6 foot, 205 as a freshman. And so immediately my brain goes to, you can carry 220. Right. You can be a 220-pound back, a 215-pound back, and still have high weight speed. And just the way he's built, and you can still see he's still developing from a maturity standpoint and from a physical standpoint, you look at that guy and go, okay, now we have to weigh, is it worth playing him as a freshman because we might need him at a necessity, or giving him a full year with Corey Campbell and going, grow and be big and then be the guy? Like, that's the hard question that Coach Rule and EJ Barthel and those guys are going to have to work with this offseason of going, hey, can we go into this year with Mosey, and can we go into this year with Nelson and maybe some other guys,
Quentin Ives.
Quentin Ives, Connor Booth? Like, can we survive with those three guys right now and allow Rule to develop? Or are we in the era of college football where it's like, if we don't play him, he's going to leave. And so we might as well just throw him out there and try and make it work. So it's a tough conversation. It's a tough place to be. In my ideal world, I'd love to see him get his 4 games, redshirt him, and just let him grow. Let him build. Let him get strong. Let him be ready to go. And then next year come out just a force to be reckoned with. But you get 1 or 2 injuries into that room, we're going to be down the depth chart, and we're going to need him as we head into Big Ten play. So it's back and forth, but I'm super excited about the future for him because I think he's only needle pointed up. You see the vision, you see the patience. He caught the ball out of the backfield. He has a lot of the really just the gifted tools of being an all-purpose back. Excited to see what his physical development can look like.
And technically, he can play in the bowl game and have those 4. So technically, you get 5. So, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, anymore. Listen, the NCAA just needs to pass it. Everyone gets 5, and we'll just roll with it. Like, I think that's the best thing we can do here. So.
And then I think we've talked a lot about Nelson and Mosley and what we've seen out of them. So we can.
Well, Quentin Ives looked good. He slimmed down a little bit. Right?
We've talked a lot about him throughout the spring. He has looked really. The practices that I've been to, I've been really impressed with him.
Yeah, he looks like he's slimmed down a little bit, right? Got some of the baby fat off and really kind of just tried to change his body. And that's when you deal with soft tissue injuries like he has for majority of his career, you got to do something different. You got to figure it out. Okay, this isn't working. What do I need to do? What do I need to change? Is it my diet? Is it how I lift? Is it what I'm lifting? And so hats off to him for identifying that, and Corey Campbell and the nutrition staff for identifying that stuff. And he's the guy that we're going to expect a lot out of this year because he's that big power back that we're going to need to close out football games.
All right, let's talk quarterbacks now. And look, Anthony Calandria, I think we saw a lot of film on him just because he was a starter all year at UNLV, but you couldn't really see his full skill set because it wasn't full tackle, and what he does is electric with his feet, and so it wasn't fully unleashed. But you walked away really impressed with Danny Kaelin. You were kind of going on and on about him after the scrimmage.
Yeah, I thought Danny Kaelin looked the best out of the 3. I mean, honestly, again, Calandria and Latif, obviously they use their legs a lot, and that's a piece that was kind of taken away in the spring game. But as far as when it came to just true passer, I mean, Danny Kaelin is the best true passer out of that 3. And that doesn't mean he's the best quarterback and he's going to be the best one to go out there and lead the team. But just the way that the ball comes out of his hand, the accuracy, the ability to put the ball where it needs to be on time, I was really impressed with that. And to no surprise, the guy has started Power 4 football games before, and he understands the timing and the rhythm. And then you get into the 2-minute drill there, and he operates it really well into perfection. He's got guys lined up. He's got the receivers running the right routes. He's got the offensive line sliding the right way in protection. Just the poise and the maturity that Danny Kaelin showed there throughout this game shows me, hey, man, this guy's here to play. He's here to compete for QB1, QB2. He's not here to just be like, oh, I'm just happy to be back in Nebraska. Like, I'm here to be home. Like, this dude's here to play. And I love that because that's just going to make everyone in that room all the better, Latif and Calandria. And that's something I think we've been missing in the quarterback room for the better part of 3-4 years now, is a true environment of competition. Obviously, Calandria looks like to be the guy, but you always want your guy to feel like someone's pressing him. Like, hey, if my play slips, someone's waiting in the wings. If my play digs and you want to be the guy behind him going, hey, I'm biding my time. I'm making sure this guy knows if he gives a crack in the door, I'm taking it. Like, I love him. He's a great teammate, and I'm going to make sure I support him. But if I get my opportunity, I'm going to run with it and try and never give it back. And that seems a little cutthroat, and that seems a little like counterintuitive to like, well, that's your teammates, but that's what breeds really good competition and breeds greatness in a room. And so I'm excited for these 3 guys to battle it out as we head into fall camp.
And let's face it, there hadn't been a season since I've been here that you haven't needed 2 quarterbacks. So the fact that you've got a couple, that room has some depth is very encouraging.
Yes. Yeah. You want to have depth. You don't want to have to. And also all 3 very similar kind of skill sets, right? Danny Kaelin can't exactly run as well as Calandria, and, Latif is that piece there. But what we talked about on the show so many times in the back half of last season was how Dana Holgorsen had to change majority of his offense from Dylan Raiola to TJ Lateef. Well, with these three quarterbacks, I think you don't have to, if one goes down and you got to cycle another one in, you don't have to kind of go to the drawing board and start all over. You just assimilate back in. And that's a nice piece to have, is similar skill sets at all three quarterback positions.
All right, in the group, I saved your favorite for last year on the offense side of the ball, although we haven't talked tight ends, but you also big fan of Quinn Clark, and he could potentially be a big weapon. You also like Isaiah Hunter. He was not available on Saturday, so he's going to be absolutely a big piece of this offense, but Quinn Clark has really come along. He's waited his time. He's developed, and I think he could be a pretty big weapon for this offense this year.
Yeah, I mean, you start looking at it and you're going, okay, we've got Isaiah Hunter, Ja'Cory Barney, and Quinn Clark. I like that as your top three receivers. I think all three of those guys. And Quasi Gilmore, yeah. I mean, so you're talking about four really top-end receivers that can all kind of different skill sets too, right? You've got the big body guys. You've got Barney, who's the shifty guy. You know, you've got Gilman, who's done a bunch of, played a lot of football. And so that receivers group is going to be really intriguing, but we have not had, I mean, Dane Key was what we wanted as the big body receiver, but I interviewed Will Clark on the sideline. That dude's looking me in the eyes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like Quinn Clark. He is big. Like, he is big. And he shook my hand and I was like, dude, you got some mitts on you. Like, he is a big dude. And so when you have that jump ball type receiver, well, what was one of Nebraska's biggest plagues last year? The red zone, right? We get down in the red zone and we just couldn't punch it in for 6. You've got a guy now that you can say, hey, go to the corner of the end zone, box him out, and I'm going to throw you a rebound. Like, go get it. Or, hey, I'm going to run you on this post route from the 20-yard line. Go to the goalpost. I'm going to try and hit the goalpost with the ball. Go up and get it over the safety. When you can have that type of threat in the red zone, it really makes safeties. You get double coverage, which then allows for guys like Barney to maybe have a quick screen over the middle, or it allows for Rule on a light box because they're bracketing coverage in Clark to run the football into the red zone. So just having that threat of that big body receiver that scares you as a defensive coordinator to go man coverage against, that can be a big difference going into this year.
Again, that was Jeremiah Sirles, a.k.a. the Big Dog, as a part of this week's Sideline Slice, or a spring game edition Sideline Slice. You can listen to that full conversation, that full podcast. It's out now on our podcast platforms, our YouTube channel as well. Sideline Slice brought to you by Valentino's Pizza, the official pizza of the Huskers. I got to go ahead and get to a break. More Sports Nightly coming up right after this.
Every machine has a story. Early mornings, long harvests, years of hard work. When the time comes to sell, AuctionTime.com helps make sure the world sees that equipment. Whether you're selling one piece of equipment or planning a retirement auction, start by knowing what it's worth. At Auction Time, we'll help you start with a free equipment valuation and plan the best way to sell. Call 402-458-4570. That's 402-458-4570. AuctionTime.com. Local expertise, worldwide buyers.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Exarban Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
It's not a job. I don't start my day by logging in or end my shift by punching out. I don't have a corner office, but I do have a seat with a view. I get to see every sunrise and every sunset. And while I may technically be my own boss, I fully accept that I am not in charge. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board. For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest. We got a new read. Man, I'm going to memorize it.
Oh, it's a new one? No way.
I just saw. I didn't even look at it last time because I had it memorized. But man, oh man. The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, where it's mower season. Get 0% financing, professional setup, and local support you can't get at the big box store. Only at Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere
folks,
dealer.
When I tell you that might ruin Jess's entire brain chemistry for the next month. I was starting to memorize the Akrs one too, so I don't have a prayer.
It's funny, Kent and Jeff were both like, I should get that memorized. And I'm like, yeah, it certainly helps to have a couple memorized. But
now you got to start from zero.
At least Woodhouse is still the same.
Yeah.
But I'll get it memorized. It'll take me, I can memorize things really quickly. So take me a couple weeks, so I'll have it down. So
you'll have to say it enough. So that's.
But I guess I'm kind of disappointed that you still don't have any memorized.
No, I don't need to. Just give me the paper and I'll read it. I don't care what it says. Just give it to me.
Oh, my bad. I'm going to have to make that up here because I read it wrong the first time. So my bad. A little bit of breaking news, I guess, here over the last hour. Talia Goodman, who has kind of been the one breaking all the news with women's basketball and the transfer portal news with women's college basketball. And Petra Bojan is planning on entering the transfer portal. Again, the women's basketball portal doesn't open until Monday. So it's the day after the national championship. So it'll be Monday for the women, Tuesday for the men. So now a couple names for the women's team that have entered the portal. Still haven't heard any from the men yet, which I assume we might have a couple, but as of now have a couple for the women. But do have a couple big pieces that have announced are returning, as we talked about yesterday, in Natalie Potts and Amaya Hargrove. So those are two really big pieces. And the trio of freshmen coming in. So you still have a really good core coming back, and they'll have some spots and some space from the transfer portal to supplement with that core they've got coming back.
Yeah, it gives you just sort of an idea of what they're going to be looking at to get in the transfer portal, because what
Probably
you're losing.
A big, yeah.
Yeah. So that solidifies some answers if you had any questions to what Amy and her staff, once that transfer portal does open up, what are some of the names that are going to be floated around Nebraska? I'm sure they have a really good idea. And this probably doesn't, a lot of these decisions are talked, they have exit meetings, right, with all these players. They have a good idea of who's going to go into the portal and who they're going to have to replace. So I'm sure it's probably not news to them.
Right. And look, and let's face it, and as you brought up too, with all these sports, while it might not be official, a lot of these conversations with the agents are being had. There's negotiations that are being done, and so you have to know kind of what your cap is and what you have with your budget and what certain players are going to cost to retain from your current roster and what you have to spend. And so you can't just do that in a matter of 15 days that the portal window's open.
Yeah, what's fascinating is I remember talking to a lot of coaches about this, outside of just football, but even on the women's side for basketball, there's a lot of, like you said, conversations with agents about what one school is offering, you never know what's the truth.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about any of the recent news about Petra going to the train. I'm just talking about in general what specifically women's basketball teams, because you don't necessarily know at times what the market is of what certain players are getting paid. So some agent might come back to you and say, hey, school X is offering us this, and you might think that's absurd, and it might be because they might just be lying through their teeth. So you have to, this is the time of year that a lot of coaches who also wear that GM hat on the women's side, where maybe they don't have a separate GM that's hired on their staff, have to sort out what's real and what's fake.
Well, even Pat Stewart, the GM for Nebraska football, told us on signing day that, you know, him coming from the NFL, like, you knew what the highest paid left tackle was in the NFL, but you don't know that now because you're getting told one thing, but you don't know if that's the truth or not.
Yeah, public contracts, that would be a wonderful thing. It's probably not going to happen anytime soon, but understanding of what is the precedent, what is the market for each position, not knowing that makes it hard to negotiate on either side.
Yeah, because who knows? Hey, Sirles, the big dog, he's in the middle of this. We had a long conversation with him about some of this, and he kind of got into the weeds a little bit about what pulled the curtain back, I guess, if you will. And so that's on our podcast platform. So if you want to learn a little bit more on the agent side of it, I thought he did a great job of breaking down some of that.
Yeah, especially nowadays. He knows not just dealing with Nebraska, but how Nebraska compares to other schools and dealing with certain contracts and NIL deals and how the landscape is changing. He's your guy because he's on the front lines of it all.
I'm going to repeat this because I messed it up earlier. The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, where it's mower season. Get 0% financing, professional setup, and local support you can't get at the big box store. Only at Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer. All right, got to get to a break. We're back to wrap up hour number 1 next.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
From the chant of Husker Power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. Bench the other guys and team up with the official Internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers. Go Gig Red. Visit allofiber.com/Husker Radio.
Husker fans, make your plans to attend this weekend, one of the most exciting events in Nebraska sports this year when the Big Red play host to the Big Ten Men's Gymnastics Championships at PBA, Pinnacle Bank Arena. Again, coming up tomorrow and Saturday at 7 p.m. Get your all-session tickets now through Ticketmaster, just $15. Hey, you got a shout-out today in the press conference.
I did. I just happened to be scrolling on Twitter because, as we know, I'm chronically online.
You are.
And Chuck Schemelka, who is my guy, head coach of Husker men's gymnastics, he referenced the quote that we had when we had him on the show yesterday about if you go there. Essentially, my question to him was, if you've never been around gymnastics, why would this be the time? What's so exciting about it? What would you experience? He said it's essentially a circus. So that quote's been circulating. He referenced that in his press conference today in our conversation, and I think he's really excited about it because they're hopefully the hope is they'll host some NCAA events moving forward at PBA. first time they'll utilize Pinnacle Bank, right, for gymnastics. Could I be wrong on that? I don't know if that's a fact or not, but I know for this team, it's the first time inside Pinnacle Bank. So they wanted to get in there today and practice a little bit. I know they had their media as well.
Yeah, and Nebraska women's gymnastics in action tonight in the NCAA tournament, quote unquote, their championships in the regional. So the second round, basically, of the gymnastics championships. So they're at LSU. So LSU is one of the best teams in the country, but 2 teams from tonight will advance to the regional finals on Saturday. So they got a chance to kind of advance maybe with LSU. So that's tonight, coming up here in about 5 minutes. It starts at 7 o'clock. So
tune into that. Keep us wired, but I think it's on ESPN Plus, right?
Yes, ESPN Plus. Here's another fascinating news story this is the time of the year leading up to the transfer portal, and then over the next few weeks where we find out where people go. That it's going to be every day probably. But Mark texted in, what about Akrs Crooks? Is that you long lost cousin? Maybe
I don't know.
That is a big in portal transfer news. Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys actually think she goes elsewhere, or is it even possible in the WNBA to leave early? And again, Mark texted that in. No, you can't. I think is it after 3 years? Mm-hmm. But I think she's one of the best scorers, right? Probably most prolific scorers in women's college basketball. She's probably awaiting a very big paycheck. And in fact, in women's college basketball, you are probably making more money than you are if you go to the WNBA. So I think probably a lot of teams going after her. And I just hope she doesn't come to the Big Ten.
I heard Iowa, rumblings of Iowa, but there's a handful of teams that are out there. Most of them are the teams you would expect. LSU, South Carolina, UConn.
She doesn't play defense to go
Iowa,
to South Carolina. Don wouldn't.
If I had to put money on it, I would guess that LSU.
Kim Mulkey?
They seem to get. I know they got Tanaya Latson from Florida State last year, who was like the best guard and one of the top scorers in the country. They tend to get the highest price transfer pieces, which I would assume she is going to be. She averaged like 25 points a game. I think she was 8 rebounds a game. Doesn't play a whole lot of minutes per game. Obviously doesn't defend at a high level, but gives you such a matchup advantage on the offensive side.
Yeah, so that will be interesting. She's probably got a lot of suitors, but yeah, in right now, because and again, the WNBA, they're trying to negotiate and get more money for players, but right now it's more advantageous to stay in college basketball for women's because there's more money there to be made than in the WNBA in the current salary and where those stack up, especially for rookies.
Yeah.
This is also wild too, final minute, but it was crazy. The judge rules is one of the, storylines. Judge rules against Virginia quarterback Chandler Morris ineligible for 2026 season. That guy was on the OU roster when I was there.
2020, right, was his first year of college football. So
that was my last year at OU. That's a long time ago.
We talked about this during the break. Finally, the NCAA has won a court case. So they're one for $1 billion. One for $1 billion.
All right. So coming up here, hour number 2. There's been some fascinating numbers come out with the transfer portal and men's basketball and some quotes that are pretty, jaw-dropping on what it's going to take to compete moving forward. So I wanted to dive into that. Also going to talk some Nebraska women's tennis. Big weekend coming up for them, riding a 5-match streak going into a big weekend. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So still plenty to come here on Sports Nightly. Keep it here. Hour number 2 up next right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
The work is dirty and sometimes dangerous. It's the kind that can break your body, and if you let it, your spirit. But while there may be better ways to make a living, You won't convince me there's a better way to live. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running, but it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with zero down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on F-150.
Get to Ford Truck Month.
Good evening, I'm Esteban Quintero, and our sports sticker is brought to you by the experienced advisors at Stonebridge Wealth Systems. 3 Nebraska softball players earned Softball America midseason position rankings. Jordy Fromm was named the #1 two-way player, while Alexis Jensen was the #3 two-way player, and Hannah Kemenzin was the #29 outfielder. The 8th-ranked Nebraska softball team will host the Rutgers Scarlet Knights for a 3-game Big Ten series this weekend. First pitch is set for tomorrow at 5 o'clock. The Huskers will showcase their newly renovated outdoor track facilities tomorrow as they host the Husker Spring Kickoff. Due to the weather, the meet has been combined into one day of competition, opening with the field events at noon and running events to begin at 12:30. Our sports sticker is brought to you by Stonebridge Wealth Systems, navigating you to and through the retirement of your dreams. Local advisors, a disciplined process, the retirement compass. Visit stonebridgeiwm.com. Hour 2 of Sports Nightly is up next, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
From the 8-yard line, snap to Calandria, play fake, lobs one back shoulder left. Oh, is that caught? It was Quinn Clark, one-handed back shoulder catch for a touchdown. Highlight reel grab here in spring. Plus 32, 2nd and 10. 13 seconds. Kalen takes the snap, hands it off to Booth, angles left. There he goes. Booth to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Connor Booth with a spring game dagger.
2-2 coming. This one is hit into left center field, going back towards the wall, off the base of the wall. Dylan Carey will round in the second, and folks, there it is, the all-time doubles record. Number 57, Dylan Carey stands alone in the record books. Take a bow, number 15.
Runner at first, 2 outs, 1 and 2 to Alejandre. From deals. Alejandre swings and misses. She's got on strikes. And the 9th-ranked Cornhuskers down 7th-ranked UCLA, beating the Bruins 2-1 in the series.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Kyle Crooks on the Huskers Radio Network.
Kyle, countdown, down to an hour.
Oh, Sonny? I knew exactly what you were talking about right away, too.
I've been talking about it all week, finally. This is the longest time I've been away from her, and it's killing me this week.
So your parents in town
with
yet?
No basketball, With no basketball, it's been harder this week.
For those that don't know, Sonny is Jess's dog. For those not consistent listeners that maybe are hopping in your car.
That are like, what
Sonny's
the heck
just
are they
not
talking
her
about?
imaginary friend. Sonny is a living, breathing thing.
Yes. No, my parents are coming up. They're probably listening right now. They're not like your mom. They don't listen every night.
She'll text me about that, too.
About what?
About how you just brought her up. And
Well, she's probably one of our most loyal listeners.
no, she is. She's the #1 fan.
And her and Art. And my parents only listen when they're driving up here.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe my mom will stop listening after a while. She won't, probably.
But they're probably listening now. But they have been dying to see this softball team in action, so we're going to go to the game tomorrow.
And your mom's good friends with Rhonda, right?
Yeah.
So
you saw it.
When Rhonda was here, your mom was here, and they caught up.
Yeah.
And good stuff.
Yeah, they're pretty.
It's so easy to root for Rhonda, too.
I know. It is. She's such a great person. It's not always the case when you have someone that's as successful as she is. I mean, she's as genuine as can be. I mean, it is, and she's so supportive of everybody. I mean, and her and Amy Williams are super close, and so yeah. But she's definitely one of my favorites. I mean, there's a lot of favorites here at Nebraska. We're very, very lucky and fortunate, but she's certainly up there.
No, she's been a consistent fixture for Nebraska Athletics for, over 3 decades now. And this season, nobody deserves it more than Rhonda, and they have something truly special over there. So not just Jess's parents, but everybody. If you have a chance to get tickets, one, they're going to be hard to come by, but you're getting fewer and fewer opportunities to see the team here at Bowling. Now, hopefully you have a regional and a super, but those will be even harder tickets to come by. But you're not going to have a whole lot of opportunities left in the regular season, so take advantage here.
Yep, absolutely. And this weekend, I know it might be a little chilly, but nothing we're not used to around here, but lots of fun things going on this weekend. And you can check out both baseball and softball. And I should mention again the ballpark bash.
I might get an inflatable animal.
Get your face painted while you're out there.
The face painted? Well, I walk back in the booth and Nick Hanley sees he'd probably think that was it. I was off my
video
rocker.
up with your face painted.
If Ben or Nick saw me walk in the booth with my face painted, knowing my personality, they would say, all right, Kyle needs help. Because something finally went off.
I think that would be great.
I think it'd be
social
good.
media content.
It'd be great content.
Esteban agrees, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can we tease the video that Esteban did with Nate?
Yeah.
So I presented a idea at our meeting. I was kind of half joking, but we have very creative people and people willing to go above and beyond. I said, let's follow Nate from doing PA the spring game of football. He also had softball later that day. Like I think it was a 2 o'clock first pitch. We had the spring game at 11 a.m. So Esteban, who's one of our great interns, you just saw him with the ticker. He is very creative with social media, so he followed Nate from kind of his day in the booth and then the walk over to Bowlin Stadium. So that should be coming out soon on our social media accounts. I was just kind of joking about the idea, but we took it, I guess, and ran with it. So we're going to have a pretty cool feature on Nate Rohr of him coming from the spring game as the PA announcer to then the radio booth at Bowlin Stadium for UCLA.
Yeah.
So really cool.
Esteban is part of the A team. I think, did we talk about that on air?
Yeah, we have about, you like to pigeonhole the A team as just a two-person group.
No, you did.
No. I said it very vaguely. A team is essentially if you show up consistently, you're here, you press the right buttons, which everybody we have does. We have a very good group of reliable interns, creative
we very
bunch.
much do. And Esteban's doing some of the social media for us. So he took that and ran with it, like you said. And so we'll be posting that soon. So, all right. So I did want to get into this here because I think it's pretty interesting. Again, and as we're talking about the Nebraska men's basketball team doubling their revenue here going into this year and being able to have some more money to work with as they are going to have to go to the portal and get some experienced players, as we've talked, probably 2 guards, a point guard, and maybe a big. And so there is an article that came out today, Pete Nakos with On3, and talking about college basketball programs and targeting guys in the transfer portal are ready to spend over $10 million. And they got a quote from a Big Ten basketball coach that said, basically, if you want to be able to compete, you got to be able to spend over $10 million. But he basically broke down the rosters and where teams might be going up even and what they spend. And of course, as we talked about, Kentucky spent $22 million on their roster last year. And then Kansas and Tennessee, with Bill Self coming back and announcing that he'll be back, they are expected to go from $8.5 million to over $10 million. And let's see, Kansas spent over $10 million, and they are expecting that it could go up to $13 to $15 million. So Arkansas, again, under John Calipari, spending over $10 million. So that's also expected to go up to $13 million. And then Arizona, Michigan, over $10 million, and expected to kind of stay around there. But again, just the point of that being that teams are spending over $10 million on their basketball roster, and it's going to continue to grow. And you have to shell out some bucks for some of the top players in the transfer portal. But we've talked about this a lot, that with Nebraska and what is done here and the culture, and going back to even when this thing started to turn around, you heard a lot here, even at the end of the season, the Sam Griesel year and what was late, and a lot of that was the culture. And I think it's less about, hey, going to get the best and the most talented and who's the most expensive in the transfer portal. It's about a fit, right? And who fits in the locker room and who fits in the system. And so I don't think it's necessarily, hey, we got to spend $10 to $15 million to have a team that's going to go to the Sweet 16 again.
Yeah, I think the only thing would be to win a championship. Maybe you need a $15 million roster, right? To get over the hump, to win an Elite 8 game, to win a tough Final Four game, you need dudes. Like, you need some really good players. So I think if you're talking about winning national championships, not just getting to the tournament, winning 1 or 2 games, maybe you need a $12, $15 million roster. But we saw this year with what Nebraska did, what was it, probably $4.5 million roster compared to some of the others. For them to get to a Sweet 16, a lot of it is based on just chemistry, connection on the court, guys that are going to have bigger values because they showed that they can play at a much higher level than maybe you thought going into the season. Like Price is going to be much higher paid next year. Braden's going to be a higher paid asset. Bearkay is probably going to be higher paid. All the market continues to rise. But, if you're Nebraska, are you just overnight going to now spend $10 million on a basketball team? Probably not. So the number is going to go up for sure, but you're still not going to be paying blue blood money.
Yeah.
Maybe down the line, eventually you do as a Nebraska, but you're still a long ways away from matching what Michigan would pay for a roster, what Kansas, Kentucky's in its own world, right? They were $22 million roster.
That's an athletics department that's going to invest more in men's basketball than football.
Yeah, they're men's basketball first. There's like UConn, I can think of as they make more money off basketball. I'm not sure if Kentucky makes, just because they still sell out their football games, right? So I'd still imagine they probably make more money off of football.
They have a huge SEC football TV revenue.
So, but I think UConn is one of the few power conference teams that makes more in men's basketball than football, which makes total sense. But for Nebraska, if you could just be competitive, be in the middle of the pack in the Big Ten in terms of what you spend on a roster, and that's where elite coaching comes in and all those things. But maybe you consistently get to the Sweet 16. That's asking a lot, right? Maybe those numbers could then eventually become comparable to the top 4 of the Big Ten, but it's still going to be years away from matching some of these numbers that you read off.
I still think also what you are, how you are being developed, right? And we talk a lot about that on the football side. But a lot of the players, and Price has talked about this throughout this entire season, how much his game has grown and how much he's gotten better. And he's in a better position now to have a shot at the NBA because of his work with Fred Hoiberg, who has the NBA background and knows what it takes. And Kurt Joseph as well came from the NBA, and Nate Linzer also was at the next level. And so that's. We talk about it in football. It's the same thing here. Ultimately, these guys want to play professionally. They want to make it to the NBA. And so I think, if you get a guy that, and Bryce McGowan's is another one that recently, and Coach Hoiberg has had how many years now in a row has had put somebody in the NBA and has done well with it. Not last year, but, I think continuing to show that, hey, we can develop you and get you into an NBA caliber player is also really big, because I think in the flip side of it, when we were talking earlier about women's basketball, you can make a lot more money in the NBA, right? So then you can in college basketball most of the time. So if you can get to that point where you can get and be a long-term NBA player, that's the investment that you make in college to be able to be developed in that way.
When you see the numbers on paper, you see what Fred and Luka have to deal with, right? You see some of these numbers, and I would assume if you're a Kansas and you're calling Price Sanfort, hey, what's your number? You're calling Braden Frager, hey, what's your number? It's hard at the current moment, even with the successful season, to compete with some of these teams, to compete with the finances and the backing historically of these programs for men's basketball. And the more and more you win, the more the numbers will be comparable for Nebraska. And we're seeing, and I think Troy said it, I think Fred has said it too, there's been a significant growth in interest from boosters.
Yeah.
So, and again, what that looks like to help the program is you got to have through NIL, it's got to be third party, so it's through businesses and things like that. You can't, as a individual booster, just say, hey, I'm going to pay for Price Sanfort.
Yeah.
So that's not quite how it works. But the more and more that people are interested and have their companies and they invest through NIL, and it's only going to get better the more you win. Winning breeds more money and more interest, but you just see how competitive this space is at high-level college hoops, how much good players cost.
And how much fun this team was to watch, too. I mean, I think people really enjoyed the product as well. We should mention, too, we've talked about this, and we'll see again when Price announces maybe what his future plans are, but we talked about him potentially maybe going through the NBA process, but then it came out that he was battling an injury, so not sure if he will be able to go through workouts and whatnot, but I still think he'll probably go through the process of maybe declaring to be able to have those conversations of, hey, what do I need to work on? Where do I need to get better? It's not ideal to not be able to work out in front of guys and go through that kind of process, the combine, all that, but I still think he probably, if it's a lot of guys at this level that you're on the fringe of that, just to be able to go through it to find out what direction you need to take to be able to improve your stock. It's a very common thing. And I still think even though he might not be able to do everything to working through the injury, he probably still does it just to be able to have that knowledge.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, sports hernia, so that's what Price was battling through at the back end of the season. That could be a 4 to 6 week type of thing. You have the combine, which is in mid-May. That's when teams would get a pretty good look at you. So if you have to go through the recovery of the hernia, that would probably take you out of that. But I'm sure agents behind the scenes have conversations with NBA general managers and front offices and say, hey, what's the interest in Price? What would that look like if he went into the NBA draft? I think it's a cool thing that, a handful of years ago that the NCAA did right, allowing these guys to...
Not very many, but that's one of the things.
Allowing these guys to test the market a little bit and then come back.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse, the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. All right, got to get to a break. Coming up next, we're going to talk some Nebraska women's tennis. Keep it here on Sports Nightly.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running, but it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with zero down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on F-150.
Get to Ford Truck Month.
And now, introducing the starting lineup of your Nebraska Huskers. Starring Allo Fiber. At number 1, Allo Internet. At number 2, no satellite dish required. DirecTV through Allo. And at number 3, Allo Mobile. Allo Fiber, the official internet, TV, and mobile partner of Husker Nation. Level up your game and go to allofiber.com/Husker Radio. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraska Lottery.
Do you have a new lotto game called Nebraska Pick 4?
Yes, sir. It costs just $1 to play. There's a $6,000 top prize with drawings every day, and you can choose from 6 different bet types.
Kind of like Nebraska Pick 3 with a bigger jackpot and more bet options?
Yes, sir. Any other questions I can answer?
Yeah, I misplaced my phone. Do you know where it is?
You're using it.
So I am. You lottery people know everything.
Straight bet top prize odds 1 in 10,000.
From the chant of Husker Power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. With Allo plus DirecTV plus Allo Mobile, you get the ultimate teamwork. Internet you can count on, TV you can stream anytime, anywhere, and nationwide coverage you can depend on. Bench the other guys and team up with the official internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running, but it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with zero down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash on F-150.
Get to Ford Truck Month.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, where it's mower season. Get 0% financing, professional setup, and local support you cannot get at the big box store. Only at Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer. All right, well, it's a big weekend coming up this weekend inside the Sid and Hazel Dillon Tennis Center with some big matches for both programs. Nebraska women's tennis have won 5 matches straight going into a couple of, again, big home matches on Friday and against number 3 Ohio State, and then on Sunday against Penn State. And a big part of that has been the freshman Katie Spencer has been a big part of the lineup, and she is the first blue chip recruit, the highest rated recruit in program history. So I had a chance to chat with her about her coming to Nebraska and the fit and her being able to get right in and be a part of this program. How has it been? You actually graduated early so you could be here. You should be a senior in high school right now,
yes.
But you're here early. How has it been kind of settling into college tennis?
It's been good. The girls are very welcoming, so that was very nice. And I was able to graduate early because I did online high school, so I could go ahead and finish my classes. And Herman, the head coach, wanted me to come early, so I did.
Did you, was it easy or more of a challenge kind of coming in mid-year because they had the fall season and then, that a little bit kind of joining late? How was that transition for you?
Yeah, diving right into the mid-season. At first, it was rough because, the group of girls, they were all, they had known each other and been together, but I was able to fit in easily and get to know them. So it wasn't horrible, and we had first matches after 2 weeks of being here, so that was exciting. And it was easy, very, I was ready.
You are the highest rated recruit ever in program history. In fact, the first blue chip recruit. What that means is top 25 player coming in. So take us through your recruiting process. I'm sure it was probably overwhelming, right? How was it when you started getting recruited and
very overwhelming?
What it was like?
Yeah, the first day it was like Christmas Eve. I was so excited because all the schools reached out that night, and I got to talk to them the next day. And actually, before I was committed to Florida State, but I came here in September to play a tournament, and my mom started talking to Herman, and then I did, and he took us on a tour of the facilities, and they were really nice. So then we kind of kept in touch, and I really wasn't feeling Florida State, the connection with the coach, and then Herman and I had a good connection. So then I ended up flipping my commitment and came here early.
So, and that's what it seemed like with your parents. They were talking about just the connection, that he really was authentic and genuine with that. What was that like, building that relationship with Herman?
I could tell he was really interested and cared about me as a human and my tennis. And that's what I wanted in a coach, someone who cared and I could go to if I had problems at home or anything. He would always be there for me.
So coming from Florida, were you at all concerned about the weather?
Yes. I never pictured myself coming up north or to the Midwest. I looked at only schools in the South. So this was a big change for me, but I'm happy about it. It hasn't been too bad here.
And luckily you got a really nice indoor facility you guys get to play in, right?
And we've been playing outside some matches, so that's good.
Okay, so again, a blue chip recruit. You come from a tennis family, right? And been pretty good your entire career. So was it always tennis? Like, did you have any other choice but to play tennis?
No, not really. Well, I played other sports growing up. Like, I did gymnastics because my mom did that. But I really fell in love with tennis, like, around 12. And, yeah, played 4 hours a day every day, and here I am.
What did you love about it so much that you didn't get sick of it or burn out?
My dad always said, like, that a lot of girls get burned out by the end of college, so I never, like, overdid it.
Mm-hmm.
But I really just enjoyed, like, the competitiveness and always being out there trying to figure out a way to win in each match. It was just really fun.
So you have your dad played collegiately. Your brother now currently plays collegiately at the Naval Academy,
yes.
Correct? Has that been helpful, having an older sibling that's already kind of going through this college tennis thing?
Yeah, I knew he enjoyed it a lot and really loves, like, competing as a team. So I knew that I wanted to do that. So it was, like, cool seeing him go through the process as well.
So then, what went into you becoming such a highly rated tennis player at such a young age? Like, were you always good, or did it take some time?
It took some time. Like,
yeah.
When I was young, actually, no. Like, I won, like, a huge tournament, like 16 and under when I was, like, 14. So that was probably my peak when I started getting really good. And I hurt my back, so I had to, like, take time off. I always wanted to play college tennis and, like, see how I go from here and potentially, like, play pro after.
So the back injury, was that pretty scary?
Yeah, I had a stress fracture.
And it was probably pretty hard to be patient through it.
Yeah, because you can't do anything. All you can do is, like, rehab, really. No, like, if you hurt your arm, you can still, like, work lower body or something, or your foot, you can still hit tennis balls standing in a boot. But back, not really, just laying in bed.
So it seems like, when I've talked to both tennis coaches, both men's and women's, a lot of the foreign tennis players that come in, doubles is not really something that they do, but it seems like you've played it, you've been good at it, and now you're excelling at it here as a freshman. Has that always been something you've enjoyed to do, is play doubles?
Yes. My dad was a really good doubles player, so he taught me how to play growing up. And he knew college coaches looked at both, like, a strong singles and doubles player, because it's important to get the doubles point. That's 1 point on the board. So that's, like, a huge start to the match. So I always worked on trying to be a strong doubles player along with singles.
So you and Conley Wright have just this week are ranked now nationally for the first time in a couple years for this program. What is it about you two that you guys work so well together as doubles partners?
Yes, it's so exciting, actually. We just really, like, understand each other on the court. She's, like, a really strong net player, and I feel like I'm strong from the baseline, so I'm able to set her up well. And I also say I'm pretty strong at the net, so, like, it works, like, both ways. So we just also, she has a really big energy, so I, like, feed off of that, and I'm able to, like, play better with her energy there.
That's awesome. So then when you are on the court by yourself, what is your strong suit of your game, would you say?
Probably my competitiveness.
Yeah.
I'm always, like, out there fighting for every point. Like, I really want to win.
Yeah.
Like, if I lose a point, like, I'm, like, so upset, so I, like, try to do better. But I also feel like the team environment is really nice, having the girls there cheering for you every point, which I hadn't really experienced before coming here, so that's nice.
Yeah, it's such a kind of an individual sport, and tennis players always seem to talk about that. How big of a difference is it when you get here and it is very much team-oriented?
Like, junior tournaments, I'm just traveling by myself with my mom, playing individual. We'll have doubles, but it's not the same. it's just me out there alone. I don't even have a coach like coaching me after every point like here in college. So it's nice.
Okay, so your parents, when I was talking to them when you got here, they were talking about how they were going to try to map out how they were going to see you and your brother as much as they could. Have they been successful at trying to see you guys both?
My mom has came twice. We played in Charleston, South Carolina, so she drove there. And then my dad and her came up against Illinois Northwestern, so it was good to see them.
That's awesome. Okay, so this team, you guys, again, have really heated up here in the middle of Big Ten Conference play. Won 5 in a row going into a really big weekend. What's clicking for this team? What have you guys really started to work out where you've had some really big wins here over this last stretch?
We all just, like, trust each other and know, like, we're going to bring our all every day, like, in practice and matches. So we trust our abilities, and we know like what we are able to bring. So, and we know we want more. So we're going to go for more.
How does Herman compare to the coach now on the court compared to that guy you were building a relationship with in the recruiting process?
He's the same. And that's what I was told before coming here, talking to Conley actually, that he would always like be there for you. And yeah, he's the same. Still a great guy.
So you knew Conley before?
Yes, like she lived in Atlanta, Georgia, and I actually played her before in doubles before coming here.
So you guys played against each other. Now you're teaming up.
I actually lost. Yeah.
She beat you.
Yeah.
Does she let you know about it?
Yeah. No, she hasn't yet.
But that's really cool though, and probably why you guys now work so well together, right? Okay, so big weekend coming up. You guys have Ohio State on Friday, and then on Sunday, Penn State. So 2 big matches coming up at the Sid and Hazel Dillon Tennis Center. And mind you, admission is free, as always, for
Be there.
Yes. Okay, so what goes into this weekend? I know you'll probably take it one match at a time, but you have some big opportunities this weekend. So what is it going to take for the Huskers to maybe win a couple?
Top 5 matchups, so it'll be a battle. I think we just have to make sure we show up like every point and bring our energy and make sure to compete and just be there.
What does it do to have a crowd there for you guys?
It means a lot, like the support of each like person there. Kevin always bringing that energy.
Yes. Go Big Reds. Yes. He's everywhere.
He is. Every sports event there is.
I don't know how he maps it all out, but somehow he does it. All right. So, again, 5 o'clock on Friday against Ohio State, and then, again, 10 a.m. on Sunday against Penn State. It's a fun atmosphere, and it's free. I think there's always giveaways, so there's no excuses. Be out there and watch this team. They've been playing really, really well, so it should be an exciting weekend for Nebraska women's tennis. All right. So, also, AirPod giveaway on Friday.
AirPod giveaway?
Yeah. So, Friday night's a big one against Ohio State, and so they've got some giveaways. And I also want to mention, too, men's tennis in action on Saturday. So all 3 days of the weekend, you can watch tennis. We're big fans of Peter Cobelt around here. He's one of your favorites that you've met. And Wisconsin, 12 o'clock there inside the Sid and Hazel Dillon Tennis Center.
Never been out there.
You should. Go out there this weekend.
Okay.
So.
Well, you told me. I'll be there. Is Sonny going to be there?
Sonny's going to be at Bark in the Park.
Could Sonny watch a tennis match? She'd run back and forth after the ball.
She does. She chases. You've seen her. She chases balls.
Yeah, she runs around here all the time.
So, yeah. All the time? She's not up here all the time.
Yeah, every once in a while. When we get the luxury of having Sonny up here. But all the time, it's probably like 3 times since I've been here.
Yeah. And she didn't like you till the last time I brought her up here.
She what?
She didn't like you till the last time I brought her up here.
No, that's not true.
She had a minute to warm up.
It was a quick adjustment.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to a break. Coming up next, we're going to make some Final Four picks. How about that?
All right, if you want to lose, you follow me.
You're not very good at picks. Maybe you'll be better at this one.
I was dead last in the college football picks, so maybe I'll have better luck with a different sport.
Maybe this will be the start of your comeback season.
I doubt it.
All right, that's coming up next. Keep it here on Sports Nightly.
Nebraska Lottery.
Do you have a new lotto game called Nebraska Pick 4?
Yes, sir. It costs just $1 to play. There's a $6,000 top prize with drawings every day, and you can choose from 6 different bet types.
Kind of like Nebraska Pick 3 with a bigger jackpot and more bet options?
Yes, sir. Any other questions I can answer?
Yeah, I misplaced my phone. Do you know where it is?
You're using it.
Ah, so I am. You lottery people know everything.
Straight bet top prize odds 1 in 10,000.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Exarban Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
It's not a job. I don't start my day by logging in or end my shift by punching out. I don't have a corner office, but I do have a seat with a view. I get to see every sunrise and every sunset. And while I may technically be my own boss, I fully accept that I am not in charge. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle. Home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. All right, had a couple of texts come in here going back to our conversation about NIL and all of that. And Jeff in Omaha texted in, money can buy players, but doesn't guarantee chemistry, buy-in, and teamwork. That's the biggest variable. Again, Jeff in Omaha.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think that's what we talked about. I think game changers and championships can still, like, I think you still have to, I'd be interested to compare and contrast of the 4 teams remaining, what UConn's NIL budget, Illinois, Michigan, and Arizona, what those 4 schools are. I know some of those are in the article that you had. I don't think Illinois was in that article. I'm not sure if UConn was, but they probably are. I don't know where Illinois would be. I'm sure they're in the upper third of the Big Ten, but you probably need to be a higher price NIL team to win a championship. That's where I'm from. You don't need to be the highest priced team to make a Sweet 16 or Elite 8, maybe make a Final Four, but maybe the teams that I think win national championships are the teams that probably have the $15 million range for NIL.
Yeah, and to that point, in the chat, Dank Coyote had said, did Indiana win the football championship with the most talented guys? Can't agree with you on that one, Kyle. You need to spend money to be at the table. You don't need to spend the most. Which is like what we saw in Kentucky. And you didn't say that.
I'd have to look up what Indiana spent after their first year at Curt Cignetti is probably pretty high.
Well,
Mark
and that's
Cuban made a significant check to them.
Remember that when Indiana women's basketball was here and we were talking with Matt Coatney, who had said that a lot of the budget for the other sports had gone to Indiana football after that first
I think
year.
people like to think Indiana as the darling and all that, and they are, because they haven't won in their history. There's a significant amount of investment, especially after that first year to Curt Cignetti, because they knew they had something.
All right, here's another text. This one from Dennis said, Jessica and Kyle, I have a Big Ten question for both of you on men's and women's basketball and the NIL money. For every men's team, does each one receive the equal amount of NIL money, or are they different? And likewise for the women, and is any television money split? No, so that the rev share and the NIL stuff is basically it's what you want to spend, right? Discrepancy on each athletic department. You can kind of break that up how you want. What still is involved with Title IX is the scholarships still have to be equal between men's and women's. So, but it's kind of about your brand, right? So with Nebraska volleyball, there are volleyball players that have a bigger and more expensive brand than football players. So if they're posting on their social media, they are more expensive than a football player. So they could make more even NIL money than some of our male athletes. So that's kind of based on that. And there are different programs and different kind of ways that they track that. But in terms of the rev share, you kind of determine how you break that up. And the TV money is part of the rev share.
Yeah, and they don't make that public for the most part.
Right.
The percentages of what the coaches know it, Troy knows it, the administration knows it, but nobody ever makes that public, the percentage of what it's
I think people say like who they spend it on, right? So we know that
football is going to get 90%, maybe 85% at certain places, and then men's basketball, and then it goes women's basketball, baseball, softball is kind of all in that chunk, or here it's volleyball as part of the rev share, right? So we all know football, there's no secret, football gets about 85 to 90% of it, and then the rest of it is kind of a guessing game as to what the percentages are.
Yeah, I think when it first came out in the summer, there were some programs like Ohio State announced that they were going to start with the football, men's basketball, women's basketball, and volleyball. I think Texas A&M also announced that it was those four for them as well. So, but yeah, it's different everywhere. You can kind of determine where the rev share money goes. In the SEC, a lot of that rev share money is going to baseball and softball because those are big there, right?
Yeah, they invest in, women's basketball obviously is pretty big in the SEC as well. So it does go to a lot of those bat and ball sports. But here's very interesting because you have volleyball as the behemoth that it is. So a lot of people, I'm sure, are interested. Okay, what's the rev share look like for Nebraska volleyball? Because it's a big deal around here.
Yeah, but a lot of the numbers are not public and don't have to be public, and so we don't really know. But the Title IX does not apply to the rev share and NIL, and it's a lot of it is based on what your brand is, and that kind of social media is involved. All of that is involved, but the rev share is. And the NIL is kind of different than the Title IX, and it's the scholarship and the opportunities, right, that goes back to that equal playing field, right?
Yeah, and, when you think of NIL and third-party deals, I'd love to see what the numbers and figures are for Nebraska volleyball, right, and how I'm sure high-priced some of those athletes are because, like you said, they're a lot of individually are bigger than football players here, at least here in Nebraska, so they probably get a lot of NIL opportunities that have to go through the NIL Go, which we know football's dealing with right now with the arbitration process with the players that are going through their deal. But for volleyball, I'm sure they get a plethora of opportunity.
I'll tell you this. I know Adidas is very, very happy with their deal with Harper Murray, which is not surprising, but they have loved working with her, and she's been a very good kind of brand ambassador for her in terms of how she's promoted them and on her social media platforms, and it's been good for them.
I wonder if, with Dylan leaving, Harper's like an icon athlete, they consider it under Adidas. They have full campaigns. Dylan was one of those. I wonder if there's a new person that steps up and is the icon athlete for football.
Is Dylan still staying with Adidas?
Well, Dylan, I think, is still with Adidas, but maybe they would want somebody who's under the Nebraska umbrella that's playing for football.
But he's going to have to wear Nike, though.
Yeah, he will. And they're like, I think they had the same thing with the wide receiver at Ohio State, Jeremiah Smith, having to deal with, because I think he is an Adidas guy, but they're a Nike school.
Yeah.
So it's very, very hard to walk the tightrope with a lot of these things.
All right, so let's do it. Let's make some picks.
Okay.
Final Four coming up on Saturday, but we don't have a show tomorrow, so we're going to make it tonight. 5:09 is first tip between Illinois and UConn. Did you have Illinois and UConn in the Final Four?
I didn't even fill out a bracket.
I didn't either, because I knew I
knew it'd be a loser.
I'd be a homer with mine. So
yeah,
I would have Nebraska winning the national championship.
I'll take. I think to me it's a toss-up. I think whoever wins this game is probably going to lose to the winner of the other game. I'll go with UConn. I just trust Danny Hurley in this spot. They found a way against Duke. Probably should not have beat. It took a miracle to beat Duke, but I think they do have the horses, guys who have played in a lot of big games in their career. I just trust Danny Hurley in this spot. Wagler is next level good for Illinois. He is an elite young guard, but I think UConn, the experience they have on this stage, give me UConn.
Illinois has been impressive offensively, right? They rely on that. Their defense has been better, more improved. They've documented that since Nebraska played them. They had to change a lot of that on the defensive end, but their offensive efficiency is really impressive. I'll say this. They're playing inside a football stadium, and that can mess up a little bit of the depth perception shooters. I go back to when I was with Oklahoma and we went to the Final Four, and kind of the same thing, relying on shooters, that it is an adjustment to shoot in the stadium. So it might have a factor in that a little bit, but I'm still going to go with Illinois. I'm going to be a Big Ten homer.
Okay.
Which
I don't mind that pick. It's a toss-up for me.
Will foreshadow what I'm going to do next. So I'm going to go with Michigan. I'm going to take Michigan. This matchup is also fascinating. Both these teams have basically been dominant wire to wire, and they match up. They both do the same things well, and so it's going to be a battle of who does what they do best.
Yeah, which bigs outperform the others? Who wins the paint battle? Yep. I'll go with Mara, who had a slow start in the last game. I think they have enough. They have maybe more at times in the guard play in terms of guys that can shoot from outside the arc. Give me Michigan to win that game, and then I'll have them winning the national title. So Michigan, UConn in the national championship.
Well, we can pick the national championship on Monday.
Okay, so maybe I'll have a different. Have a different perspective.
If we don't have the same,
well, it depends on how the games play out. If UConn blows out Illinois, maybe I'll have a different thought.
Well, but it might, my championship might, what I picked might not be what it is. So we'll have to.
Yeah, you might be wrong. I might be wrong.
You might be wrong.
There's a good chance I'll be wrong.
So we'll have to reset on Monday.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll be able to do that early.
But I'll take Michigan in this game.
So you got Michigan, UConn. I got Michigan, Illinois. I got a Big Ten.
So we have one difference.
I got all Big Ten final. So there we go.
Homer.
Right. What?
Homer.
Hey, the Big Ten kind of dominated this tournament this year.
How about it?
Yeah.
And it's, Big Ten, it's hard to win basketball national championships. The Big Ten's searching for one here. So
this is the year. All right, got to get to a break. We're back to wrap up the show next.
Nebraska Lottery.
Do you have a new lotto game called Nebraska Pick 4?
Yes, sir. It costs just $1 to play. There's a $6,000 top prize with drawings every day, and you can choose from 6 different bet types.
Kind of like Nebraska Pick 3 with a bigger jackpot and more bet options?
Yes, sir. Any other questions I can answer?
Yeah, I misplaced my phone. Do you know where it is?
You're using it.
Ah, so I am. You lottery people know everything.
Straight bet top prize odds 1 in 10,000.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
From the chant of Husker power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. Bench the other guys and team up with the official Internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers. Go Gig Red. Visit allofiber.com/Husker Radio.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. All right, you found some info on Indiana's roster.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably...
football, Indiana football.
A lot of it, you don't necessarily know what the exact amount is, but they're probably in the top 10 in college football in money spent on the roster.
Yeah.
Right, so to say that, I think there's this illusion that Indiana is like this super Cinderella that came out of nowhere. There's been a significant investment in Indiana football.
Yes, from the first year to the second year.
Yes.
Sure. Your point was not that you have to spend the most money.
Nope, but
it's
you
just
have
that
to
you have
spend
to
money.
invest.
You have to invest.
And I think every coach has said that. But you have to have some money to be able to get the pieces. And I think that's why you're hearing guys like Gino Auriemma say that the mid-majors have been kind of ruined by some of this.
Yeah, I mean, you
hurt really bad by the rev share and the NIL money.
I think eventually for football, on the football side, you're going to see a super league. You're going to see the leagues branch out, the SEC, the Big Tens, the ACCs, the Big 12s, and just create their own league. I think that's what we're trending towards more than anything. I think that'll happen sooner rather than later because the rest of Division I has kind of been phased out in college football and basketball too, right? It's harder for mid-majors to win and find Cinderellas in March.
Good conversation. So always a fun discussion when our listeners get involved with that. So we appreciate the text and the interaction on the YouTube chat. Okay, so just want to remind you, there's a lot going on this weekend. So men's gymnastics, the Big Ten championships inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. Going to be a fun event tomorrow night and Saturday night. Track and field have a home meet coming up tomorrow. Again, it was supposed to be the debut of the outdoor track, but with the weather, they're going to kind of make it a dual, both indoor, outdoor. And then baseball, softball at home for a weekend series, and there's a lot going on with both of those series. But softball on the air, the first pitch is at 5 o'clock. Nate Rohr will be on the air at 4:45 on the Huskers.com and the Huskers app. Baseball on the air, what time?
Baseball's on the air 5:30.
5:30 for a 6 o'clock pitch. And men's and women's tennis, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So lots going on around here.
Looking at, I just had this come on my timeline, again, chronically online. Softball America Bracketology, Jess, has Nebraska right now as a 2 national seed.
Wow.
As a 2, and LSU would be the 15, so they'd be paired with LSU. So you're looking at Howard would be the 4, South Carolina the 2, Omaha the 3. So right now, Softball America, again, they take everything into account, not just top 25 rankings, RPI, non-conference strength of schedule, all the different metrics. They have them as the number 2 national seed at the current moment.
Right. So again, as we've talked a lot about here over the last month, after they got through the gauntlet of the non-conference, all they got to do is continue to take care of business here for the remainder of their schedule.
Yeah, and like we said earlier, not just take care of business, but start beating up on some teams. Again, run differentials, one of those stats that they look at too. So if you can get some run rules down the stretch and this weekend against Rutgers, that's a luxury. You don't want to get too confident, but you want to play your game. This is a generational team, folks.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. You got a generational player. You got elite pitching, elite offense. You got a baseball team that's creating excitement to another level, to where you think they can host a regional. It's a good time to be in that area of Lincoln, especially this weekend with both teams at home.
Again, that ballpark bash with lots of fun stuff going on. Kyle's going to go get his face painted.
Yeah.
11 to 2 on Saturday, and a bit between Bullen Stadium and Haymarket Park. I think there's balloon animals, there's a prize wheel, all kinds of fun stuff, and you do not need a ticket for that. You can just come hang out with fam or just
or your dog on Saturday.
Yes, bark at the park, so you can go to both, between the 2 stadiums. So it should be a fun weekend. All right, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back on Monday to recap it all for you. Have a great weekend, Husker Nation.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
The work is dirty and sometimes dangerous. It's the kind that can break your body, and if you let it, your spirit. But while there may be better ways to make a living, you won't convince me there's a better way to live. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
Once a year, a rhythm thunders across the countryside. It can't be tamed. It can only be driven.
It's the final days of Ford Truck Month. The stampede of savings is running. But it's about to run out. So hurry into your Midwest Ford dealers today. During the final days of Truck Month, get $7,250 cash or 0% for 60 with zero down and no payments for 90 days, plus $1,000 cash.